Hey guys, it's Ryan Holman, founder of Sales Recruiting University, and excited to go through these two topics with you today, recruiting and retention. If you're looking to scale a commission-based sales team, those are obviously the two core things that you want. You want recruiting, you want retention, and the retention will ultimately give you the sales production, which of course is the whole point to build a sales team. And so in this video, we're going to talk about those two things. At a very high level, Sales Recruiting University, if you're not familiar with us, we recruit over 1,000 commission-based sales reps per month, and we help clients build out and automate retention systems so they can save tens of hours a week in the new hire onboarding and training process while increasing their retention rates by 2 to 5x. By the end of this video, you'll know how to cut down 75% of the work required to recruit and retain commission-based sales reps, while at the same time increasing the volume and quality of recruits that you're bringing on board today. So first, let's talk about the recruiting process. I'm going to be talking in the context of what we do, which is build commission-based sales teams. And when you're recruiting commission-based sales reps at a high level, there's two things that need to happen in the recruiting process. You need a ton of volume going through your recruiting system, and you need to be good at selling your opportunity to the marketplace. So let's first talk about the volume aspect of recruiting. If you don't know the numbers, it takes at least 50 and up to 100 applications for every one recruit that gets into onboarding. Conservatively, 100 applications need to come in. 80% of them need to be screened out of the recruiting process because they're not even worth connecting with. The other 20% need to go through an entire recruiting process. If you're good at the recruiting process, you'll get at least 2 of those people to verbally say yes to moving forward. 1 out of 2 of those people are actually going to sign their agreement and show up on Monday for new hire orientation. And so there's 100 applications that come in, 80% of them get screened out, 20% of them go through an entire recruiting process, 2 of them say yes, and 1 of them shows up. And most organizations will actually spend 10 hours going through that entire process just to get that 1 rep into onboarding. Now, where it gets frustrating is the nature of building a commission-based sales team, there's just more attrition. And what I mean by that is you don't recruit 1 and keep 1 and everything's easy peasy. Now, of course, that can happen, but for most organizations, they're going to need to recruit 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 reps to get 1 to stick. If you have an amazing top-notch opportunity like a closer role, maybe it's 50%, but what we see for most organizations, especially when they have all commission opportunities where reps are maybe self-generating and closing their own leads, is they're going to have like a 33, 25 to 20% retention rate. So in the middle is 25%, which of course means you need to recruit and onboard 4 commission-based sales reps to get 1 to stick. Well, from there, if it's 100 applications just to get 1 rep into onboarding and you need 4 reps to get 1 to stick, well, then you need 400 applications going through the recruiting process. 320 of those need to be opted out. 80 of them need to go through an entire recruiting system. If you're good, 8 of those people will verbally say yes. 4 of them will actually sign their agreement and show up on Monday, and 1 of them will stick and scale up into quota. And now we're talking about 40 hours of recruiting work just to get 1 rep up into quota. And we haven't even touched the time investment that goes into the onboarding, training, and management process. But the point so far is that this is a volume game. Now, to really drive home the volume piece, let's pretend that you come to us as a client and you're doing $1 million in revenue. And you want to scale up to $5 million in revenue in the next 12 months, which means we need to help you build up a commission-based sales team that takes you from 1 to 5 million. And let's also hypothetically say that your average rep quota, like the bare minimum that you expect a rep to do over a 12-month period, is $500K. Well, if you're going from 1 to 5 million, which is a difference of 4 million, and your reps are going to do a bare minimum of $500K, well, that means you need 8 reps doing the minimum to go from 1 million to 5 million in revenue, which is your goal. So in that example, where the organization needs 8 commission-based sales reps to accomplish their goals from a revenue perspective, well, if they have a 25% retention rate, that means that they need to recruit and onboard 32 commission-based sales reps, which means they need 3,200 applications coming through the entire recruiting process, 320 hours on average invested into that recruiting process just to get the 32 reps started so that they can actually accomplish their goals. Now, obviously, if you have the systems, the human resources, the time to be able to accomplish that, it's well worth it because you're building the organization that you desire. But the point is that this is truly a volume game. You need to have the systems, the time, the energy to properly invest into it so that you can get the end result that you want. But also it's a persuasion game. And what I mean by that is you actually need to be able to sell your opportunity at scale to a ton of people. Recruiting, especially in commission-based sales force, is a sales game. And as an example, if I were to come through your recruiting pipeline today, the question is why would I actually work for you? Why are you, from a leadership perspective, your culture, your industry, your company story, your plans for growth in the future, your sales model, your compensation plan, your onboarding, training, and management support, opportunities to advance into sales leadership later as your company grows, why are all those things actually good enough in your opportunity for me to exclude everybody else and come work for you alone? And the answer is that you actually have to sell me on that being a reality. You have to recruit me. And I have to come to the conclusion as the candidate that working for you is absolutely the best thing for me. And when you can get a lot of volume through your recruiting process and have a system that allows you to sell your opportunity at scale, and you're good at those two things, you'll actually accomplish your goals as a company. At Sales Recruiting University, we have a 4-step recruiting process that, from my perspective, is the most efficient way to get a lot of volume through your recruiting system while putting yourself in a place to be able to sell your opportunity at scale without killing your energy and your time. And that 4-step process looks like this. Step 1 is about advertising your opportunity. Advertising your opportunity in the right way allows you to get the volume through the top end of the recruiting funnel in the first place. We simply need the volume to get the end result. Step 2 is the screening and scheduling process, which should not include the phone for you and wasting tens of hours on the phone interview to see who's interested in your opportunity, but simply setting up an administrative and automated process to opt out 80% of the candidates so that the other 20% of candidates can go to step 3. Step 3 is candidates show up to a Zoom group interview presentation, and that's where you sell your opportunity at scale. You have a ton of candidates in a group setting in a Zoom meeting that are potentially a fit. Again, it's the other 20% of candidates who originally applied. And this is your opportunity in a group setting to sell your opportunity at scale and pitch your culture, your industry, your company story, your plans for growth in the future, your sales model, your compensation plan, the support system that they get as they come on board, advancement opportunities into sales leadership as you're growing. All of those things need to be presented with confidence and energy so that a percentage of those candidates that showed up into the group presentation actually convert into a one-on-one. And that's step 4 is the one-on-one, the final interview. The final interview is with candidates who fully understand in depth your A to Z opportunity, so they're not wasting your time. They're also a fit, and you're simply closing up who you want to close post-group interview presentation. And that's the 4-step process that makes it really efficient for you to get volume and to sell your opportunity at scale to multiple people. Again, most people are not going to be interested in your commission-based sales opportunity, and therefore you need the volume and you need to be good at selling the opportunity. So advertisements is step 1, screening and scheduling is step 2, step 3 is the group presentation or the group interview, and step 4 is the final interview. And there are other nuances that we implement within our system, like DISC assessments and other things within each one of those steps, but I don't want this video to be too technical. But very high level, if you were to transition your recruiting process to this model, even if you're doing it on your own, you're going to eliminate 50% of the time investment that you're currently spending today. And if you work with Sales Recruiting University, we'll eliminate 75 to 80% of the work for you and ensure it happens perfectly from day one. If you want to learn more about that, go to salesrecruitinguniversity.com and schedule a call, and we'll look forward to meeting you then. Everything comes with a 60-day financially backed guarantee. But in short, that is the recruiting side. That's how you get the people in the door. Which brings us to the next topic in this video, which is retention. In short, if you don't have the sales department systems to retain reps and get sales production, then obviously recruiting is totally pointless. The reason that you're recruiting a commission-based sales team is so that you can get revenue from the sales reps and scale up your organization. And it's an absolute requirement for you to have systems that retain reps and get the sales production out of them. Now, in reality, there's like 20 things I could cover within this one specific topic, but I'm going to cover the 4 most common ones that'll save you tens of hours a week while increasing your retention rates by at least 2x. And those 4 are sales process, sales compensation, sales training, and sales coaching. Sales process is really defining your entire system in steps, stages, definitions, while also creating scripting, objections, and top FAQs. So when reps come on board, they have a system that they can actually follow, allowing them to study and execute on the communication aspects of the sales position. If I come on board to your organization and there's no sales system, no sales process to follow, then there's no foundation for me to see any success in your company. And so the sales process is the foundational thing within your sales department that absolutely needs to be there for new hires. The next topic is sales compensation, which is pretty self-explanatory, but compensation, of course, needs to be set up for attracting, recruiting reps and retaining reps as well. Now, the foundation of setting this up properly is understanding your budget and the organization that you want to scale. Ensuring that you don't change compensation later is incredibly important, so you want to understand truly what you want to build long-term, so you can understand the leadership structure that will be required to manage that sales force at scale, allowing you to remove that cost of leadership from the compensation budget, giving you the final budget for the sales position or positions. So as an example, let's say that you want to go from $1 million to $10 million bucks in revenue, which is obviously a difference of $9 million in revenue. And let's also say that your sales rep quota is going to be $250K per year. Well, if you're going from $1 million to $10 million, which is a difference of $9 million, and your expected average quota is going to be $250K in revenue per year, well, that means you need 36 sales reps doing $250K in revenue per year to go from 1 to 10 million in revenue. Now, obviously, an owner or just one sales leader is not going to manage 36 reps. And you'll, in that example, of course, want to structure leadership to ensure you can manage that sales force at scale. So most organizations are going to have 5 to 10 sales reps per leader. So to make the math simple, let's just pretend we need to build a 40-person sales organization and just round it from 36 to 40, and assume we want to have 1 leader for every 10 sales reps. Well, if we want to build a 40-person sales team that has 1 leader for every 10 reps, that of course means we're going to need 4 sales managers. But then most likely at that type of scale, those 4 sales managers are not going to report to sales leadership. And so there'll be some type of executive sales leadership level within that system, maybe something like a VP of sales. So there's a VP of sales at the top, 4 sales managers under them, and each one of those 4 sales managers have 10 reps. And there's our 40-person organization that allows us to scale from 1 to 10 million. Now, let's say hypothetically, I have a 25% budget for total revenue that I want to allocate to the sales department at scale, regardless of how large we grow. Well, if the VP of sales and the sales management structure are conservatively going to take 10% of all the revenue, well, then I would need to remove that 10% from our 25% budget leaving us 15% to allocate towards the sales position. Now, I won't cover sales leadership compensation today, but if we focus on the sales position with the 15% budget, in most cases, 2/3 of that is going to be allocated towards the base commission, which would be 10%, which means a rep gets 10% commissions on typically the revenue that they're bringing in. Although this language and these numbers are not going to align with every type of opportunity, this is just an illustration. And the other 5% would be allocated towards monthly bonuses. So in this example, where there's a $250K expected quota annually for a sales rep, well, obviously that's only $20,000 per month. In that example, maybe I'll set bonuses at $20,000, $25,000, $30,000, $35,000, and $40,000, with opportunities to earn 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5% monthly based on the revenue that the rep is bringing in. Now, this, of course, is just a hypothetical scenario. And honestly, with that type of quota, which is only $250K per year, which is a really low income commission-based sales opportunity, if I only had 15% to allocate towards the budget, I'd probably just pay him the whole thing. But I'm providing numbers for you at scale so you can understand how to think through these things for yourself. But to recap, typically 2/3 of the sales rep compensation budget will be allocated towards the base commission, and the other third would be allocated towards monthly bonuses based on performance. In every budget, company, industry, sales model is going to be different, but again, this is just an illustration for you. But let's say we came to the conclusion of our company budget, we understood the leadership structure, created the compensation plan for the sales positions or all the positions, because maybe there's setters and closers within a specific sales model, and obviously this needs to be done for every position. Well, if we were to develop all the compensation plans, the last kind of cherry on top that sometimes will help clients do is set up activity-based training compensation. And that is simply just additional training bonuses every week or month based on how you want to structure it that allows the rep to get more money in their pocket as they ramp up into success. So as an example, if it's a 90-day ramp up in your opportunity to get to quota, sometimes we'll help clients set up weekly or monthly production bonuses that allows the rep to make additional money, but it protects the company financially because it's all activity and production based. And what this does from a retention perspective, which is what we're talking about, is it allows you to communicate training pay in the recruiting process while objectively getting additional income in the rep's pocket as they ramp up into success. And they have those future financial carrots in front of them that are objective and clear to them as they ramp up into whatever the compensation plan is. Now, your budgets, your sales rep quotas, they're going to be totally different than everything I'm saying. But again, this is just an illustration. Your quotas may be $1 million or $1.5 million. Your goals may be a lot less or much more. Your sales team size at scale may be a lot less or a lot more. But hopefully this is helping you think through what you need to do for yourself, because sales compensation, again, is incredibly important to retention. So to recap, we have sales process, sales compensation. The third thing is sales training. Now, sales training is like the initial informational side of the onboarding process. This is where reps are understanding and learning the sales system. Here's the sales system. Here's the stages. Here's what you communicate. Here's the objections. Here's the top FAQs. Here's our products or services or offer, our industry, and more. And this is where they're learning how to execute on the job. Now, this is a big time investment, and typically companies, if they're doing it properly, are going to be spending 10 to 20 hours per week when they onboard a rep or multiple reps. What we like to help clients do at Sales Recruiting University is implement an automated training system so that when reps come on board, they have a sales university system that saves the client at least 10 hours plus per week while ensuring reps get the information that they need to ramp up into success. And this is where that big time saving starts to come into play in the retention side of building your team. And so my suggestion to you, whether you do it yourself or you have us help you do it, would be to develop a sales university that automates the majority of the informational side of your onboarding process so that you can onboard more reps, grow more quickly, and save tens of hours a week in the process, meaning you like your leadership job much more. Another piece here is as you scale your organization and start to delegate training and management of the training to leadership, when it's inside of your own custom new hire training university, it ensures that it happens perfectly every single time versus you delegating it to somebody to do it live with new reps. Another thing too is when you have everything inside of a sales university, it allows reps to go through the content 2 to 3 times in the first 2 to 3, 4 weeks as they come on board, which is incredibly important for the information retention side of the job. And the reality is you want reps to go through the information multiple times as soon as possible so they retain it. This university topic is incredibly important in terms of saving you time and increasing your retention rates by a minimum of 2x. And the fourth topic is sales coaching. Now, sales coaching is not just giving reps the information, but it's allowing them to practice the information and get coaching based on the information that they learned. So as an example, if they were to go through the sales university, well, ideally they'd be able to practice the pitch, the objections, the top FAQs with multiple different types of customer profiles so that they can practice actually what it's like to do the job and get coaching based on how they're doing to collapse their learning curve as soon as possible, ensuring that they see quick success on the phones or in the field, depending on whatever your sales model is. Now, this is another time investment type thing, and it's really difficult to execute. What we do at Sales Recruiting University is we have our own technology platform called Rep Coach AI, and we take our clients' scripts, objections, top FAQs, the types of customers that they sell to, upload that into Rep Coach AI, and create automated role-play and coaching systems so that when new reps onboard into our client's company, they can practice the pitch, objections, FAQs, with AI customers that mirror the exact sales experience they're going to do live later, while getting coaching perfectly every single time when they do these role plays so that they can get the repetitions in as soon as possible. If you don't know the math, reps need to practice the pitch 40 to 50 times to master it and feel absolute confidence in their pitch. And obviously that's an important thing. And we have found automating this process is the best way to ensure it happens perfectly every single time and to ensure that you're saving as much time as possible while maximizing retention rates. Now, the Sales University and sales coaching fully automated within your new hire onboarding process is an absolute game changer because it'll save you at least 20 plus hours per week and it will radically transform your retention rates. And these are other systems that will drop your time investment in the retention side of building your sales team by 75 to 80%. And allow you to grow so much more quickly. Now, I know all of this can feel like information overload, but we have found that these are really the things that make the big impact in terms of organizations being able to predictably recruit reps, retain reps, and get the sales production out of them, which is the game changer. If it is an overwhelming topic for you, we're happy to help you with all of these things. Clients get everything that I just covered at no additional cost when they plug into our recruiting service. And on top of that, we can even help them recruit and develop sales leadership so they can delegate all of the leadership responsibilities to somebody else and step away from the sales team, allowing that sales leader to independently run and grow the sales team without them. Ensuring that recruiting, onboarding, sales team meetings, one-on-one meetings, accountability, sales team coaching, communication, and more can actually be delegated to somebody else. And again, if you want to learn more about that, feel free to reach out. We're happy to walk you through all of the details. With that said, I hope you got a ton of value from the video today. If you found this valuable, make sure to go to YouTube, Sales Recruiting University, subscribe, and continue to dive in. I'll see you there.